Julie Stanfield and her daughter Gabrielle have hardly ever been apart, but when Julie ended up in a coma with COVID-19, they were separated for more than 5 weeks.
This is the moment that Julie came out of Warrington General Hospital and was reunited with Gabrielle. And I'm delighted to say that the two of them join us from their home in Cheshire this morning, along with Amanda and Katie, who cared for Julie when she was in hospital. They are there at work in Warrington. Good morning to all of you.
Let's see if we can talk to the nurses who looked after you. Amanda is an ICU nurse and Katie is the recovery ward manager. Now, Amanda and Katie, you were particularly struck, weren't you, by Julie's attitude. What was it about her that just endeared her to you?
I think her positivity. I know when Julie stepped down from intensive care and joined us on AA, her attitude was positive all the time, and her strive to get better inspired us as a team.
Amanda, you are dealing with so many dark moments, I'm sure, in ICU. It just must be such a remarkable and uplifting moment when you're able to discharge somebody and see them better.
Yeah, it was a wonderful moment when Julie came out of the intensive care, and I followed her up on the ward and seen a recovery of the next 2 weeks, and every day she just got stronger and she was positive every minute of the day.
And she's actually the teacher of your daughter as well, isn't she? So you knew her and you knew how important she has been in the community, in the role that she plays, which must have sort of added a little bit of sort of satisfaction when you could see her walk out of the hospital.
Oh yes, it was wonderful to see her walk out. Obviously on a personal level and how much she'd impacted on my daughter at school. You know, it was wonderful to see her do so well and get back home.
Well done for the care that you're providing to everybody there at the hospital. We've reconnected with Julie and Gabrielle. Julie, you were telling us, because Ben had pointed out that one of the things that's so alarming about this virus is the way that it can switch, in fact, can't it? You can feel like you're okay, and then all of a sudden, it can get suddenly worse. Is that what happened in your case?
Yeah, I felt better in the morning that I ended up going in, but by the afternoon I was starting to feel really, really dreadful. Called 111. They put me onto a consult who got a doctor to call me, who called the ambulance for me.
Gabrielle, you and Mum, I understand, had only ever spent a week apart in your lives. So how distressing for you anyway that your mum's so ill and having to go into hospital with a virus that, you know, is causing so much alarm, but then to spend so much time without her. In what ways were you able to keep in contact with her?
When she first went in for the first day or so, she did have her phone with her, so I was able to text her and know that she was okay, and she was sending me selfies and stuff. But after that, when she got put into the coma, there was just nothing. I mean, the staff, the nurses and stuff in the hospital were amazing. They were letting us call into my mum's phone, and then they would put it next to her just so like me and like other members of my family could speak to her. We didn't know if she could hear us or not, but it was worth saying it just to try and get her through.
And what is that experience like? Your mum's unconscious, she's in an induced coma, but the nurses are saying messages, hearing your voice might be having an effect, and you're talking to her.
Oh, it was so emotional, really, really emotional. But I think it helped like bring the family together as well when we all got together to do the calls. But it was strange not having a response from the other end of the phone.
Yeah. Katie, I wonder if we could ask you about that, because, of course, one of our colleagues here, Kate Garraway's husband, is very ill, and one of the things that she said has really been comforting for her is the fact that the staff are taking her phone in the evenings and she can talk to her husband. She has no idea if he's responding, but it certainly gives her a sense of comfort, and there is the hope that it is. It's an incredibly touching and personal thing to do, to sort of take that phone and be there for the families of these patients. How is it for you on the front line when you realise just how desperate the families are to see their family members who are so ill, and yet you have to carry that sort of burden for them?
It is, it's really emotional, and it must be so hard for families at home that aren't able to speak with their loved ones at this time. But as nurses, we just try everything that we can to, you know, ensure that they gain some comfort from it. And I think it's really important for the patient's recovery as well.
Do you get the sense that the patients do or are aware in some way that the family are trying to communicate and are speaking through the phone?
I think that's more of a question for Amanda, actually, because Amanda's in ITU, so obviously that's more of a specialised one for you, I think. But yeah, I think the patients definitely benefit from speaking to their loved ones.
Amanda?
Yes, so I think
Amanda?
there's a number of occasions where Julie's family could speak to Julie on the phone, and like Gabrielle said, it's not having that response back must have been difficult, but hopefully Julie could hear her family and gain comfort from that.
Julie, do you have, I mean, you were in an induced coma for more than 2 weeks, weren't you? What does it mean to you that your daughter was still talking to you when you were unconscious?
It's amazing, and even through that, when I was hallucinating and stuff, I could hear her voice. I remember thinking that one of the nurses was Ellie, and she came and whispered in my ear, and she was like, "You know what you've got to do."
It's incredible, isn't it, to hear that as well, I think, Gabrielle, just to know that your mum could sense you, she could feel that you were there. There is a wonderful bond between the two of you, which we can see today. What's it like for you to have mum home and to be able to give her a big hug?
Oh, it's just the best feeling in the world. I mean, you know, she's like my best friend. So, like, being apart from her for so long was awful. And I've been more emotional since she's been awake and home than I have been when she was in the coma. Bingo.
Yes, I suspect you go into a sort of coping mode, don't you, when she's in hospital. And we've noticed when we've interviewed people who've recovered, Julie, that there is something very emotional about the fact that, you know, you came very close.
Yeah, it took me a little while to realise that I had, because when I came round in ICU, I was a bit dazed, but it hit me a few days later, and I was an emotional wreck for a whole day.
I bet. Well, look, not wanting to add to the emotional stress, hopefully this is positive emotion we've got for you. You are a very much loved teacher, of course, and there are lots of kids that you have taught, including Amanda's own child as well, who wanted to send a message to you today. So here's some of those pupils and what they would like to say to you.
Hi, Miss Stanfield. We're so glad you're getting better. Thank you, NHS, for everything you've done.
Hi, Miss Stanfield. Get well soon. Miss you loads, because I badly need help with my maths.
Hi, Miss Stanfield. Get well soon. Can't wait to see you back at school.
Hi, Miss Stanfield. Glad you're out of hospital and hope you're feeling much better.
Hi, Miss Stanfield. I'm so happy to hear that you're at home and you're making a recovery. I can't wait to see you and say a big thank you for your support throughout my school years.
Hi, Miss. So happy to hear you're out the hospital doing well. You're one of the strongest people I know, and you deserve so much. I'm so grateful to know you and to have you as my teacher.
Wow, that's some testimony to have from the kids that you teach, Miss Stansfield, as well. I dread to come to you right now because it looks like you're struggling with the emotion of it. I imagine you are desperate to get back to teaching your kids as well, aren't you?
Oh, I am. I miss them so much. And I missed my year 11s. I missed their last day of school because I was off sick when they announced the lockdown and that the schools were closing. So I hope I'll get to see those again as well.
Well, I mean, do you know what? It's so emotional seeing how much love they have for you. There's somebody else who wanted to send you a message. I know that the comedian Sarah Millican makes you laugh. Well, she's got a few words for you. Here we go.
I send a lot of love to you and to Gabrielle, your daughter, as well. And obviously, God bless the NHS, clearly represented there by Amanda and Katie. Thank you very much for all of your hard work. We're all very grateful, girls. And next time I'm on tour, whenever that's allowed to be, I understand you're a big fan, Julie. Please come along. I'll sort you some tickets. And for the girls from the NHS as well. We'll come along. We'll all have a laugh. Lots of love. Take care. Bye-bye.
Oh.
Thank you.
I'm not sure I can think of a better way to celebrate getting out of all of this.